As Xbox continues to change more and more, I actually think it is time to drop hardware altogether. And to be clear, I'm not saying that they will do that, but the growing consensus seems to be either predicting or lamenting or worried that they are actually going to stop pursuing hardware, or that they don't really have good and strong reasons to do it. And the big picture here is that it has been happening in stages. First, it was the marketing. There were articles claiming no Xbox, no problem, as more and more ads were showing up stressing that you just didn't need their console. And that all seemed to be at odds with both Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond stressing that future hardware was coming and it would be big technical leaps. Then there were rumors about a handheld, or other rumors saying we might get a console PC hybrid where you could sideload Steam, which all sounds great. But then, the new developments in the last 2 weeks are causing doubt. We have remarks from Amy Hood, the Microsoft CFO, and hardware numbers continuing to drop, causing even one Xbox commentator to claim that this generation is pretty much a lost cause due to the lack of games and a good release cadence to drive console sales. So, is it time for Xbox to drop hardware altogether? Well, I'm going to argue that yes, it is, from a variety of ways, and I would love to know what you think, because every day here during the week on Reforge Gaming, I tell you what I think about a gaming topic, and then we go to a live stream where I want to hear what you think. So if you like this content, please remember to hit like and subscribe. A quick look at the Xbox hardware numbers for this generation paints a pretty bleak picture, and for a lot of us, none of this is surprising. We're 4 years into the gen, and Xbox has consistently missed the mark with their first-party releases, either by delaying them or releasing them when they clearly were not ready. All of this was also paired with long stretches of just no first-party releases and not even having really any third-party exclusive cadence either. And after an inconsistent 2023, we haven't seen much of an improvement in 2024, as the only first-party release was Hellblade 2. Now, with Stalker 2 getting delayed again into November, that is one of the third-party exclusives that they had, Xbox decided to delay Avowed into February of 2025. So we once again had a great showcase, but a very weak showing with respect to first-party games or exclusives. So seeing headlines like this one from IGN shouldn't really be a shock. Xbox hardware revenue down 42% from last year as Activision acquisition continues to boost content sales. Now, before you say, listen, all the hardware is slowing down for everyone, the Xbox situation is unique because it's down year over year after already being down. The Nintendo Switch is slowing down after being out for 7 years, and the PS5 is slowing down after being up last year. So the drops are not equal for each of the platforms. It also seems that 2025 will see the release of the Nintendo Switch 2, and it has been strongly suggested by all insiders and sources that the PS5 Pro will be here in the fourth quarter of 2024. Xbox, however, has no plans to do a mid-gen refresh, and when you look at the numbers, it's clear why. Here's the quote from the article. The company posted its earnings today, which included a report of hardware revenue down 42% year over year. Hardware sales saw a significant dip of 31% year over year last quarter as well, though sales were up slightly 3% in quarter two, thanks to a series of holiday discounts and promotions, but hardware was also down 7% prior to that in quarter one, and yes, dropping steadily for several quarters prior to that too. Again, it needs to be stated here that this decline has been building upon previous declines. So it's not like it's been doing great and suddenly slowed down. It's been doing rather poorly and is slowing down on top of that. But it's not all bad for Xbox, as the same article points out where revenue is up. Quote, gaming revenue overall appears to be doing more than fine in terms of year-on-year comparisons, even setting quarterly records. This is largely due to the boost offered by the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. It wasn't there to make money for the company last year. Now it is, so the numbers have gone up. This, to me, is the whole picture. With hardware falling, the real money is coming from owning and publishing games, which Satya Nadella was quick to boast about in an earnings call. From GameIndustry.biz, quote, elsewhere in the earnings call, CEO Satya Nadella said Xbox has 500 million monthly active users across all platforms and devices, and that the platform holder's upcoming release slate has never been stronger following its June showcase. The thing to really notice here about the 500 million MAU number is that the reason it is so high is because it includes things like Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Minecraft, and other large games in their portfolio. So when you combine these two recent developments, hardware really feels like it's fading into the background. Shareholders and those looking at these earnings reports can't be oblivious to the stark differences. Seeing hardware drop every year and practically every quarter while software sales and monthly active users soar, well, that's a loud and clear message about what should get more investment and what should not. And the Microsoft CFO seems to agree. Investors and earnings calls can be especially revealing not just about how a company is doing, but where it is going. And Games Radar seems to agree. A recent article from them titled "Microsoft CFO Wants to Turn Xbox into a Subscription Business and is, quote, really encouraged by some of the progress of Game Pass." Now, they zeroed in on things that Amy Hood said during an investors call. The important thing here isn't just what she said, but the context and why she said it. Here's the quote. In an investors call following the report, Microsoft's chief financial officer Amy Hood was asked of how investors should think about the growth of Microsoft's gaming business. Quote, "I do think the real goal here is to be able to take a broad set of contents to more users in more places and really build what looks like more to us, the software annuity and subscription business," Hood responded. So there's three things to point out here, okay? First and foremost, she is saying that the, quote, real goal in the context of how to grow the gaming business. This piece of the puzzle is significant, and I'm sure investors really liked her answer because there is evidence that it's already working. With the content and services revenue going up, along with the 500 million monthly active users number that Satya is touting, the second thing to notice is that, according to the Microsoft CFO, the real goal is to publish games in more places. Now, I've previously made the prediction largely because of how Microsoft approaches gaming. I thought they were going to approach it as a software strategy. I said, listen, they're setting their sights on a software strategy. That's why they're trying to acquire all this property. And the third point, I think, shows just that. They really want to, quote, build what looks like more to us, the software annuity and subscription business. I'm not really sure how else to read this other than what I've stated many times in the past. Microsoft is a software company, and they are likely going to start treating gaming in the same way. And if you still don't agree with me that Xbox should drop hardware, let's look at other recent developments with respect to game delays as well as third-party game dev comments. Game delays are certainly becoming more common, and Xbox is no stranger to game delays. Just last week, I did a show about how we might see more delays going into the fourth quarter because I described the fourth quarter as the slippery time of the year as many games start to slip in to the next year. And when Stalker 2 got delayed into November, I turned my attention to Avowed and Indiana Jones because they had yet to give us release dates. Well, Xbox announced that Avowed would be getting delayed to February of 2025 to, quote, give players' backlogs some breathing room. Now, the backlog comment came under fire as the only first-party game from Xbox this year has been Hellblade 2, and having a full backlog doesn't seem to be the problem right now for Xbox fans. It's the lack of that cadence of games that they were promised. But this isn't the real only thing hurting the demand for Xbox consoles right now. There's a continuing trend of games coming to Xbox late, like Black Myth Wukong, or not at all, like Phantom Blade Zero, and they made people theorize that maybe there were secret exclusivity deals with PlayStation. But the developer for Phantom Blade Zero had a very harsh and probably more honest answer. Game Rant's article title says it all. Phantom Blade Zero dev says, quote, nobody needs Xbox. And the article claims that this question was reportedly answered at the recent China Joy 2024 Games Conference during an interview with an anonymous S-game developer. According to Brazilian gaming website Gameplays Cassie, the developer in question allegedly said nobody needs this platform when asked about the lack of an Xbox port for Phantom Blade Zero. They further noted that Xbox consoles aren't popular in Asia and building games for them is difficult due to Microsoft's overloaded ecosystem. Now, Previous reports and speculation really tried to heavily hint that there could be secret exclusivity deals for Black Myth Wukong. The same outlet claims that this is not true. That same Brazilian outlet said the following: the creators of Black Myth Wukong and Phantom Blade Zero stated that they do not have exclusivity agreements with Sony, and the devs aren't the only ones speaking to this. Jeff Grubb recently said on his Game Mess Morning show that new people just aren't buying Xbox, and he was curious if this was the beginning of those stages of Xbox moving past hardware. And as I stated in the beginning of this video, Paris Lilly, who's known for his appearances on the Kinda Funny Xcast as well as other Xbox podcasts, he said that he feels this generation is pretty much a lost cause when it comes to Xbox hardware. And it's hard to disagree with him in light of everything we just looked at, because the way I see it, there's only one conclusion to come to. It's time for Xbox to drop hardware, and that honestly is not something that I want to see happen. I love the idea of an Xbox handheld from the Microsoft Surface team. I would love for an Xbox PC hybrid where you could sideload Steam and I could put that in my living room. But the facts are the facts. The hardware numbers are plummeting, while the software publishing and the MAU numbers are soaring. And when developers and gaming commentators are all saying that the hardware is basically washed, how could you argue any differently? The shareholders and decision makers are going to look at the money, and the consumers are clearly responding to changes in the Xbox strategy as well as just in general where the games are landing. And now we're also seeing third-party developers basically say, what's the point? So, as far as I can tell, Xbox's future with hardware is looking less and less likely with each passing day. But those are just my thoughts. And now it's time to hear your thoughts. And you can do that in a comment below or come into the live stream, which will be in a card right here on this side, as well in a pinned comment below. And if you like this content and you want more like it, please remember to like, share, and subscribe.